what's the 20?
Come on, easy, man. Find the red and win the bread. Here, find the red. Look, I'll make it easy. Look, come and take the money. Look, put down 20, I put down 40. Look, look. 3 cards, man. Red, you win.
Okay,
come on, look.
Let's go.
Put down the money.
Bring this 20 up against it.
Okay, look, look. I'll make it easy. Black, you lose. Look, okay, look, no. Red. Okay, look, follow it, man. Look how easy. Look, here's the red, man. I'll make it easy. Come and take the money, okay? Look. Okay? Got it, man? Pick it. Lose, man. Lose.
Show the red. Show the red.
Here's the red.
Let me see the
bread
red.
down, you're gonna win.
I got bread. What the red? Show me the
Here's
red.
the red right here.
Show me the red. Show me the
Here's
red.
the red.
Go ahead, man.
Ready?
I can win.
The bread.
No, we ain't supposed to be doing it that way.
Where you at? Wait a minute, hold
your
show
bread.
red.
Hold your bread, man.
Oh, show
Put it
red.
up. No, let him put it up. Put it up.
I know. Show
He
red.
wants to put it up. Come on, put it up. Here's red. I showed red, man. How many more times you want to see it?
Now, set it down. Let me see the red. Let me see the red.
Step by step, by step, by step, by step, scroll longer. Till it's just like stepping in another world. Feel that pulse, that pulse, that pulse, that pulse grows stronger. Like a breath coming from another world. Don't wanna leave my old world, but I can't deny what it is that draws me on. Like a magnet pulling from another world. Don't know what to find in a new world, but I'm not afraid of the sound that calls me on. Like a siren singing in another world. Here comes a change and another change and another change and another wave of change. Like a heartbeat pumping from another world.
Mr. Rundgren.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm sorry, I'm a little late. Now,
I'm a little late. Can we just sort of move on with it?
Get right into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to be impersonal or anything, but
I guess what I wanted to start out by asking you is just quite simply, you're well known in the industry, and apparently you have quite a devoted group of followers or fans, but you're not exactly a household name right now. So for openers, can you give me some idea of just what it is in your story that would be interesting to a person who probably has never heard of you?
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why I remain in the business as it is. I've sold a lot fewer records than a lot of people who have already gone under.
Well, maybe we'll dig up some answers to those questions. You're a rock star, and a rock star is a rare bird. Everyone wants to be a rock star, but very few people actually attain it. Just what happened in your childhood that you can look back and say, well, there's where it started. There's where I either saw a goal and I went for it, or whatever. I mean, did you sing songs when you were in the crib, or what?
I always had a musical inclination, but I don't think I knew I was going to be a professional musician when I was growing up. I became a musician more or less because I got out of high school and I didn't have the aptitude to do anything else. And the time was right. It was the same as going into the priesthood.
Why don't you write your mother? Why don't you call your family? They're expecting an answer. Spare them your strange behavior. What of your expectations? Weren't you going to show us all some new kind of dancer? This season singing savior. I'm too far gone, and it's no use pretending I could ever forget what I done. I'm already too far gone. I got no bridges left to burn. It's better to keep moving on. It's such a long way down. Too far to fall. Too much trouble to turn back around. Think of your friends and neighbors suffering through your lameness. 'Cause you must owe them something. Come now, you must remember. Haven't you finished playing? Get down to business soon, because your lean years are coming. June now, but come December, I'm too far gone, and it's no use pretending I could ever forget what I done. I'm already too far gone. I got no bridges left to burn. It's better to keep moving on. It's such a long way down. Too far to fall. Too much trouble to turn back around. Too far gone, and it's no use pretending I could ever forget what I done. I'm already too far gone. I got no bridges left to burn. It's better to keep moving on. It's such a long way down. Too far to fall. Too much trouble to turn back around.
Very early in your career, you were proclaimed in the rock press to be some kind of possible pop messiah who was going to show a new direction in songwriting. How did you react to being categorized like that?
Since it was early in my career, I was glad to have any kind of kudos at that point, but I think I grew to realize that I didn't consider myself necessarily a stylist in a certain kind of music, although that's where I started out from. I kept reaching back and incorporating other things, or reaching out and incorporating other things in the music that didn't necessarily fit into pop. So a lot of people started to feel betrayed when I didn't follow up on that, when I didn't seem to have the same allegiance to pop music that some other people did.
Hello, it's me. I've thought about us for a long, long time. Maybe I think too much, but something's wrong. There's something here that doesn't last too long. Maybe I shouldn't think of you as mine. Seeing you, or seeing anything I take for granted that you're always there. I take for granted that you just don't care. Sometimes I can't help seeing all the way through.
A lot of your music doesn't seem to be concerned with the usual boy meets girl romantic themes, but definitely spins off into areas which seem fairly philosophical.
At a certain time, I was writing boy meets girl songs, nearly exclusively. Not near. I don't know. I don't know what the exact ratio is, but I was writing songs lyrically from the standpoint of what was popular at the time. You know, what everyone else was writing about, what everyone still writes about, I think, for the most part. But at a certain point, I realized that I wasn't writing about things that were important to me, that I was simply trying to figure out all the possible combinations of the subject that had been beaten to death already.
Last night, I was feeling something wasn't right. There was not another soul in sight. Only you, so we walked alone. Though I knew that there was something wrong, and a feeling that feels so strong about you.
What made you realize that?
Possibly a number of things. I think drugs are important. You know.
What kind of drugs?
Lots of different drugs. A variety of drugs.
This is
I started, drinking is rarely an inspiration, but can be inspirational. At least for me. For other people, I think it's highly inspirational. I smoked pot for a long time, and that helped me to focus on certain things. But I think probably the thing that really gave me the broadest overview was psychedelic drugs.
Is this the input of psychedelic drugs? Is this around a particular record? Can you trace your a transition musically there?
It was between Something Anything and A Wizard of True Star. It's obvious to most people who know the history of my records, because there's a radical change in lyrics and the whole approach to making records. I stopped viewing records as an extension of 45s, and I realized that the length of an LP is more flexible than that. It could be you could have 3 minutes on one side of an LP, but you could have nearly a half an hour of music sometimes on one side of an LP, and it didn't necessarily have to be in 3-minute segments. There didn't have to be breaks in between them. It didn't have to be music. It could be just sounds. It could be music that bordered on noise. It could be any kind of expression that you could make in terms of sound.
Well, you also approach it, sometimes it would seem, to convey some rather unorthodox themes.
Yes, that's correct. I've never seen the value of me making records like somebody else. I don't see the value of anybody making records exactly like somebody else. But in my particular case, if I have the facility to make music that is musically and lyrically substantially different from at least the mainstream, if not from every other artist, then it's my obligation to do that. Otherwise, I'm not reflecting my own viewpoints, and therefore no one gets the benefit of realizing what a valuable thing it can be.
Who's that on the racks again? A portrait of a crazy man, trying to make a living off an LP's worth of tunes. Trying to make a living off an LP's worth of tunes. Trying to make a living off an LP's worth of tunes. A picture of a soul in pain, trying to change the world with an LP's worth of tunes. Trying to change the world with an LP's worth of tunes. Trying to change the world with an LP's worth of tunes. There's something at the heart of it that's simply awful. A man who makes a living off a plastic waffle. There's something at the heart of it that's simply awful. A man who makes a living off a plastic waffle. There's something at the heart of it that's simply awful. A man who makes a living off a plastic waffle. Trying to make a living off an LP's worth of tunes. is forming on my brow. Not a thing can help me now. My life is on the line for an LP's worth of tunes. I can see the write-ups now. The multitudes are crying for an LP's worth of tunes. Man would simply have to be as mad as a hatter to try to change the world with a plastic platter. Man would simply have to be as mad as a hatter to try to change the world with a plastic platter. Man would simply have to be as mad as a hatter to try to change the world with a plastic platter. Trying to change the world with an LP's worth of tunes.
What's your problem, Sonny? What's your problem, son? What's your problem, Sonny? What's your problem, son?
Well, a lot of your music is I guess, for the listener, obscure, probably even demanding. It seems like a stream of consciousness in some cases. Is this coming out of that same transition?
Quite possibly. Although, as I say, I didn't take psychedelic drugs for an extended period of time. One of the reasons why I stopped is because I started to acquire a different... Maybe my nervous system mutated or something like that. But I just started to think and behave and feel things differently when I wasn't taking psychedelic drugs.
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I just don't know what to feel. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what to feel. Everything I thought that I knew doesn't look so. There's a ringing in my head that keeps me awake at night. Sometimes I just feel so alone. I don't want to admit to my friends that I feel confused. I wonder what I'd do with myself if the world was gone. Sometimes I just feel so afraid, but I know that no one else has it made. So if I just believe in myself, I won't need no help from nobody else, and I can make it out. Everything will be good. I got to keep on keeping on. There's nothing else I can do. But sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what to feel. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't
This has always happened to me. I will occasionally dream songs, and if I can bring myself to remember them afterwards, then I'll try and record them. Usually they come out different than I actually dreamed them. When I dream them, I think this is the most wonderful song ever written. But there's probably something happening there that I could never capture.
Well, the Greeks took, I guess, that same principle and called it the muse as some kind of force of inspiration. Do you believe in anything like that?
Must be. There must be something that that makes an idea seem important enough to try and represent it in musical terms.
What about that idea coming from some source outside your conscious mind?
It's possible that it comes from the subconscious mind. I can't say categorically where it comes from. There's all kinds of theories about a realm of thought, collective consciousness, and cosmic consciousness and all different kinds of consciousness. And consciousness is a constant fascination for me, to the extent that I can't make strict categorizations about it.
As the sun rises in the east, as the wind blows the fog across the sea, as the hand of man creeps across the face of the world, caught in a wave of glamour, Persian perfume and oriental eyes, yogi and knots and Sufi wise, master sublime and Swami high, throwing some voodoo on the side, and a dash of the old kung fu. Lord, you got me strung out on these sturdy trees. Lord, you got me strung out on these sturdy trees.
Well, the myth of the rock star is definitely one of the last myths that is allowed us in the 20th century.
Does have a lot of mythology that goes with it, which makes it, I guess, in some ways more appealing than being a CPA or a doctor,
A newspaper interviewer.
or an interviewer. Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's plain, clear as rain. I've seen your symptoms many times before. Lying on your bed of pain, what will you have now? What are riches untold in a life without compassion? For there's no winter as cold as a life without compassion. There's no prescription that's sold that can heal you like compassion.
Can we take a break now?
Sure. What is your idea? What's that central idea?
It's not one idea. It's the flow of ideas. It's that whole, if you want to get mystical about it, it's the redemption of the physical world. It's taking the rocks out of the ground and refining them into steel and silicon chips
and atomic bombs?
and expressing ideas through them. I mean, I don't know what idea you can express with an atomic bomb, but that's probably somebody else's idea of redemption of the physical world.
Stick to your guns. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Nobody knows the trouble is proposing. People will believe anything. Men on the run always gets it in the end. Nobody cares as nobody shares his dream. People don't believe anything. Everything is changed. Everything is still the same. It's just a part of the game. Mama, Papa, boys and girls, holding hands around the world. What is wrong? What is right? Nothing changes. Over now. When I see it in black and white, I believe it when I see it in black and white.
Do you believe in an afterlife?
I don't think that's a relevant question. I mean, what I believe is what I believe, and in that particular case is purely will be speculation for most other people. You know, I don't want people to speculate necessarily on my personal religious beliefs, even though I don't consider them religious. I consider them flexible enough that I could change them at any time. So I'm prepared to deal with whatever happens.
So facing thoughts of death is not it's not tempered by a belief in a heaven or a hell, then.
That's not the important part. It's almost a sense of not having finished something.
How is that?
Even if I finished everything that I thought I had to personally finish in my life, I would feel really disappointed to have left the human drama while it still seemed to be so unresolved. While it still seemed like, you know, there was so much conflict in terms of the way that, you know, way that human beings deal with each other, but more even the way they deal with themselves.
A million old soldiers will fade away, but a dream goes on forever. I'm left standing here, I got nothing to say. All is silent within my dream. A thousand true loves will live and die, but a dream lives on forever. The days and the years will go streaking by, but the time is stopped in my dream. We all have our everyday hopes and fears, and you'll find no exception in me. But that doesn't get me through a sea of tears over life's biggest tragedy. You're so long ago and so far away, but my dream lives on forever. I guess I believe that I'll see you one day, for without it there is no dream.
Well, it sounds like you're not going to participate in any process of the language being denigrated as we see happening all around us, then.
Well, I don't know. I just like to, I like to just to explore the inner meaning, the deeper meaning why a word or a phrase might be used, rather than the most obvious.
Some people tell me that love is a feeling or a possession. Somehow it seems so cold. Somehow it seems so cold. And when they say love is sweet, does it mean that you eat it? Maybe you drink it, does it fill up an empty hole? Yeah. Looking for a love. I'm looking for a love and I may not find it. You know that doesn't mean that there were not some action behind it. Yeah. I can hear them calling, please come home. Please don't leave us alone. Your mama and your papa cry all alone. You better let it magnetize. Learn to sacrifice till we get the true version of the meaning of the verb to
A lot of your songs take a very curious kind of detour on commonplace subjects, such as love, which is certainly treated easily by most musicians. And some of your songs take a very curious perspective on it. What's up?
I don't think most what people call love songs are actually about love. They're about sex, or about love that would not exist if it weren't for sex. And along with this process of, trying to write things that I actually thought about, I realized that I didn't want to write songs about sex. Or if I wrote a song about sex, I wanted it to be about sex.
Time stops. The light goes on. The thundering head and nobody. Washed up and woke up on the beach. Seaside breakfast, the tender egg on white bread. Legs long and tan without a break, even to the neck. Suddenly, simultaneously. An eclipse, the mist will fall. Flakes jump instantly on the shoulders like wet silver, burning little holes all the way to the metal. Puckered flesh like avocado, sags within green pool. All the birds leave blinking turquoise ruts across the snow-beaten sky. It's time to scream.
My idea is that you take anything that's available physically, and through it, you materialize ideas.
I think there's something in the Old Testament that gets thrown around about man being given domain over the earth. In a mystical sense, that's what you're saying then. It's our duty to beat the rock into a silicon chip then. And
It's, in a certain sense. I mean, not in a black and white way. Not as if all ideas are worthwhile at all times. But if the human atmosphere was such that ideas were the currency of the world, then the evolution of the planet would probably be accelerated.
A handful of nothing is all that I need. It contains plus and minus everything. The odd combinations of what make up the world that you see before you. On one hand I rest out in the other. But these are just symbols to the perfected minds, of which we are but mere reflections. I was born to synthesize, energize and catalyze. I was born to synthesize. Like waves on still water, the forms reappear, quickly erasing the ones before. But forms like these are born only to die, but the life in them lives forever. Pyramid spheres and obelisks are the patterns of our creation, but the odd combinations are leading you on to your home, which is in the center. You were born to synthesize. Ain't no job, it's no surprise. You are born to synthesize.
Some of the lyrics to your songs, I must say, sound like they'd be more at home chanted in an Egyptian mystery temple than played on a pop record.
I do have the problem sometimes of getting a little obtuse with lyrics. I think that that's, in some cases,
You think you've outstripped your audience sometimes?
sometimes sometimes I think that it becomes an indulgence, that it's, that I'm reflecting my fascination with the subject that a lot of people might not be fascinated with, and in some ways trying to be facile with it, and that's dangerous, but it's a real reflection. I mean, when I make my records, sometimes I have a realization of the flaws in them and go ahead and leave the flaws in, because that will, in a certain sense, make them different. It externalizes the flaw for me. It's that cathartic thing. And then there's also the possibility that it's right for somebody else. That some people get into it, some people will be set off in a direction that they otherwise might not go in, just by hearing something that may have nearly immediately lost relevance for me after I've recorded it.
First consciousness of the indivisible soul, experiencing first impression through the first meaning, creates a tendency in the soul to associate and identify its eternal, infinite self with the first form, the most finite and most gross, which was at the seat of the contrariety, spontaneously sown by the reverberations of the first urge, imperceptibly germinated and manifested for the first time in the shape of duality.
What is performing like for you? Obviously, I've never performed, but it's obvious that it must be an intense experience.
I can't speak for anyone else, and I don't want to sensationalize it, but it's the most intense experience. That there's a compression of consciousness that happens when you perform, and also a sense of because of the performing tradition, and I don't know why I feel that way about it, because I don't like to give undue importance to certain things, but you feel once you started performing that you can't, if you thought that you were going to die on stage, you would just have to die on stage. You can't leave the stage.
The show must go on.
In a certain sense, but not in the sort of, not in a Broadway Hollywood showbiz kind of way. It's a real sense of testing yourself.
Have you ever felt in a performance you thought you might die?
It's always a possibility. It's always a possibility. Sometimes it seems like you're straining so hard that you could just, pop a blood vessel in your head and fall right over. Sometimes you think that, sometimes you have some little twinge, or you get a sudden shooting pain through your neck or your head, and you think you've done it now, and this is going to be it, but you can't stop. You have to keep going. And sometimes that's what makes it such a valuable experience, because after you're done, you realize you did something that wasn't simple and that didn't have an easy way out. And you went through it. You went from the beginning to the end.
Thank you.
Is healing connected with creativity?
I know that I had to do the album at a time where I felt like I needed it, like I needed to heal myself.
What kind of difficulty were you experiencing?
A general loss of confidence in most of the aspects of my life, without actually losing confidence in the essentiality of it. Like I knew I was going to have to survive, and I was going to have to go on. But nothing seemed to, I didn't seem to have what to me is a really valuable cockiness you have to have sometimes. You have to be able to spit in the devil's face. You have to be able to feel at certain points so confident that nothing can compromise your ability to proceed and finish what it is you're doing. And that felt compromised to me. I felt physically compromised. I felt even mentally compromised. I felt like to a certain degree I was in the dark.
Think of yourself as a healer at all?
I think I can heal myself. I don't know whether it's one of those hard and fast things. I think that most healing comes from inside the person who's sick in the first place, and that someone external from them can help them focus it. But that the only person that you can truly heal is yourself.
Oh, your life is your life. No one else can live your life. And the dance of your life, you must pay. If a man knows the law, he gets help from the law. Only fools fear the law that can save. If you will, then you will, for nothing can withstand your will. As your faith is, so you are. Where your mind is, there
Well, history, what did they say? You're doomed to repeat it unless you learn it, learn the lessons from it. What are the lessons that we...
I think we're doomed to repeat it anyway. I think we're always doomed to repeat history. It's just that we can kick it up to another level. Instead of having to do the same things, we will have the same conflicts. Because conflict is an avenue to change. It's an element in change. There is always conflict.
Listen to the voice. The voice is an illusion. Listen to the voice. Don't let the words confuse you. 'Cause you need something to concentrate on. Concentrate on me. You need something to meditate on. Meditate on me. Listen to your heart. Tune into the rhythm. Listen to your heart. Beating with precision. Like the waves upon the seaside. It goes on and on. Like the spinning of the world. It goes on and on.
Some of your songs seem to have acquired the status of anthems for your fans. Do you see yourself as some kind of leader at all?
I don't want to be stuck in that role. I would just as soon be able to follow if I felt that's what I had to do. I don't know how much of a contradiction that is, but if I felt that my individual destiny meant for me to follow somebody, then I would. That doesn't happen often.
Someday we need just one victory, and we're on our way. We're praying for it all day and fighting for it all night. Give us just one victory, it will be alright. We may feel about to fall, but we go down fighting.
you have conflict inside of yourself?
Always.
Have you come to terms with yourself?
No, never. It's not. You seek an equilibrium from which to operate, but if you accept it for too long, then you just become stagnant and static. And you don't change, you don't evolve. And unless you think that you've evolved further than everyone else around you has evolved, or further even than the universe has evolved, because that continues to evolve as well, then there's no reason to quit. There's no reason to think that you have it all down pat.
You know, wishing won't make it so. Hoping won't do it. Praying won't do it. Religion won't do it. Philosophy won't do it. The Supreme Court won't do it. The President and the Congress won't do it. The UN won't do it. The HR won't do it. The sun and the moon won't do it. God won't do it. And I certainly won't do it. That leaves you. You'll have to do it.
I know that you've been wondering if I'm the same man inside. I never tried to fool you, 'cause I got nothing to hide. But I gave you fair warning. I could never be tied down till I've seen paradise with my very own eyes. Love owns us all. Time owns us all. Life owns us all. But the world doesn't own me. The world doesn't own me. Don't you follow me now? I ain't afraid to say I may have been wrong. Yeah, I have to go. I'd rather live by a dream than live by a lie. Yeah, and that's why there ain't no cure for what I got, baby. I just have to suffer. But I feel no pain, I can't complain. Things could always be rougher. And I just can't put it down, no. I can't let the world down just 'cause no one would try. Love owns us all. Time owns us all. Life owns us all. But the world doesn't own me. The world doesn't own me. Don't you follow me now? Everybody's got to find his own place in the sun. Everyone, sunshine on me. I'd rather live by a dream than live by a lie. You can say what you will about me. Talk is cheap and I don't mind. When you lay your life down in them grooves, you know you're bound to get scratched up sometime.
Do you have any last words?
Excuse me.